All right, guys, hope all is well. I'm going to do a video just about what I'm seeing so far. Yesterday wasn't really anything too much, if I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Let's check out this week. So, dollar, we pretty much just swept this high, and we have actually started to have a little bit of retracement. I did want to see potentially just kind of run into this area, and have one more run up purely because there's nothing really honestly within this zone, which is nice. It's just kind of like a correction and that impulse again. So I was just kind of looking at this zone just to see what we could get, potentially come down a little bit more into this 50 EMA, and potentially head back. So far what we've had is we had a nice 4-hour supply zone that was created through that high within here on the previous high here, and small breaks of structure within here, intermediate breaks of structure. We slightly had a test and we are kind of starting to head down slightly. Now, I'm not really going to kind of say that we're going to go bearish from here. Absolutely not. But I do think potentially we could pop down a little bit and head higher. If I'm correct, we do have NFP on Friday. So I'm going to wait and see kind of what happens with that so far. So that is dollar. AU. AU, I was expecting now price. Well, let's go high time frame. So I'm expecting shorts overall. I did want to see if we could take out this low. Bearing in mind, I do know that we do have this potential supply zone. Failing that, we do have this zone up here, which I'm not really going to rule out, but I'm only going to look at this if this zone actually gets broken. Because if we really kind of look at it, this is the low, this is the high, this is our lower low. So kind of anywhere, even within here. Okay, cool. So we can see already that this daily zone is lining up pretty nicely with the 50% of this move here. So in all reality, we could potentially see move slightly higher and take out some of this zone in here. There was a nice trade going on from last week. Dropping it down a little bit more. Tell a lie, let's go back up a little bit. So we have this 4-hour supply zone, which I could see price come into. That is going to be my first kind of point of interest to see if price actually does reach that 15-minute zone. We do still have these lows down here, but coming out of the Asian, you can see going into London, we came back, we came into this zone in here. So when New York opened, we had that pop back up. This is our breaker structure. So now we're just kind of looking for that zone. This was a confirmation that we'd actually broken structures as well, right in here, just across here. So now this was our kind of high point that we're focusing on. Again, we're just looking for the zone that caused that. And you can see it was actually this last down move in here, which caused price to come up. We came down, we tested it. I was looking for a break structure here to come down and test and ride this back up into these zones. We are actually getting that now. So that is looking like a little bit more of a confirmation. I did actually put this out in the chat. So now what I want to see is kind of going into Asian, going into London, and then potentially going into New York. We head back down, and then we head higher. We do have NFP on Friday. So potentially we could have some sort of move like this. If price is now breaking above this, probably going into like Asian session, going into London, going into New York, we have this move, we have this consolidation, and we have something like this. I actually know what we were Wednesday today. What we Tuesday, sorry. Okay, so Friday is still up here. So we do have a lot of room potentially if price even came back down into this zone. Excuse me, came back down into this zone, and then we stayed around here going into New York in the NFP. We could either have that move back up or we could actually have that move down south, because we are moving bearish and I'm only having my targets so far just to this daily supply zone. So whatever happens after that, we will kind of just wait and see what happens. Now, I do have this small 15-minute zone in here. I'm not really going to be looking at that too heavy. We did have a slight test. This is 230 New York low. So I would probably like to see this low actually get taken out. I'm assuming there's probably going to be some people trading off this. So now we've had this break structure. If price comes down, we do something, we sweep, and then we actually start going long. That's going to be the motive going on forward, depending on where our high is actually created. We could even see price, no, I mean, even here, you can see the fib levels are lining up quite nicely with our retracement zone, which we're looking for. So all eyes on there, even though we do have the 50% here. I wouldn't personally set an order here just because I do think this low could get taken. And this is where the actual move really started. You can see going in from that New York, we then went into that London mitigation. So potentially tomorrow we could have that New York mitigation and those continuations. So that is what I'm looking for AU. Euro pound, I really was convinced that we were going to come back up into here. But if we just really break it down, this is our impulse, this is our correction, and then this is our impulse again. So it's still valid. That is still valid. Just because I want to see it come back up into these zones doesn't mean that it is actually going to do that. I did have an order in here back when prices around here, which still has not been hit. I did want to see these highs get run. So I have been looking for potential longs into this zone after we had this break of structure, but we failed, and again, that's fine. Overall, still looking for this low to be taken. We do have a lot of imbalance in around these zones, and we do have some flat lows with this single wick here. If you guys remember me always saying, whenever you see a singular wick and the kind of lows next to it, more times than not, this does actually get taken. I've seen it happen quite a few times. So that definitely is going to be a target for us, but there's quite a lot of moves yet on this. So what am I looking at for now? So we've just taken this low. This is telling me that obviously price is starting to get a little bit weaker. This morning, we did come into New York supply that was created. We swept, we didn't sweep equal highs. I really was looking for this. I did really want to see a sweep of something in here, but we didn't get it. Again, just because I want it to happen doesn't mean it is. We have liquidity here. We have these highs still here. So we could potentially see one big run. So far, though, after we had this test of this New York supply going into London, we then mitigated, and then we've crashed with broken structures, and we've broken structures in here as well. So now a game for this is just following that and continuing it, and look for shorts. If we pull a fib, that's still looking quite nice. I do want to see if price can come back and run in here one more time before actually heading down a little bit lower into our final targets. I mean, my final fib level is actually lining up with the fib. So all my final target is actually lining up with the fib. So whenever I see things like that, that's quite nice to see. But we are just really sticking with what's happening. We are really sticking with structure. If price is breaking lower, then we will look to do so, just sell it lower down. If we do get some move like this, then there is going to be somewhere in here to probably trade from. That's where we look for pullbacks, and then we can take this long. I only will look for that if and when this is invalidated, because we did break structures, we did mitigate, and we did sweep liquidity in here. So that is the game plan for euro pound. US 30, we have been bearish quite a while. I am looking for this low still to be taken. We do have this zone up here, and if we really look at the higher time frame, this is potentially a place where we could be trading from. Here we had a really nice setup. I was talking about this Wyckoff for ages. It was really nice. Well, overall, firstly, we mitigated this small daily zone in here, pretty much wicked it. From that daily test, price did actually crash down slightly, quite a lot. We did actually break structures, and then this is, whoops, this was our last supply from here. From that daily test, you can see we hit that test. We had a lot of people were selling from this, and it wasn't wrong. Honestly, it really wasn't wrong. There's some quite nice opportunities off that. But there's still an imbalance, which I was really looking for. We did come in and fill, I believe, 50% of it. Yeah, so 50% of it got tested really nice. So shorts from this zone still would have been valid, but I do know that this is still a zone which has not actually fully been filled. And on the 15, sorry, we can even see there was a gap in here and we still had the supply zone in here. So that was kind of giving me a bit more conviction that price is probably going to want to come up one more time. Off of the back of this, we had a really, really nice distribution. So you can call this your PSY. This is your buying climax. This is your ST. This is your UT. And then we had that UTAD test, which was here, and that continuations. And Wyckoff is actually nothing more than a manipulation. Well, a distribution is nothing more than a manipulation of the highs, which is what we had, and a breaker structure to the downside, which is what we had. And my one major point that I would have been looking for to actually get broken would have been this demand zone in here. You can see we had a test of that. Boom, we came up, we swept the highs. So as soon as this was broken, for me, this was nice to see some shorts. Now we had the short off here. We did have a couple more short opportunities. I do think we had one in here. So shorts along this were really nice. I did want to see in here, I did call out as well that I wanted to see if this small zone in here was going to get met. We didn't. Again, that is fine. We just kind of continued low. We do have liquidity resting in here. So when the time is right, we could see some highs get taken. But for the time being, you can see we swept this high in here. Price broke down lower. We had a test really, really nice at the 50%. I believe that was like a 30-minute zone or 15-minute. Yeah, 15-minute in here. Really nice. We tested and then we kind of just rolled. This is our breaker structure. Price then has now had one more run of all of this, all of the highs that were floating in here. We've had that run. We can actually use this as a point. There we go. Really nice. I think, did we come into the 50% of that? Looks like we did. Yep. So you can see we came into 50% of this. So this 50% got tested with this. And now the 50% candle that tested then got hit the 50%. So you can see that would have been really valid entries for shorts. Now for me, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for a 30-minute move off here. This is my candle of interest. We have been moving bearish. We have been mitigating. We have been sweeping liquidity. There was a 4-hour zone in here, which I was waiting to see if that got broken in here, which actually caused kind of this pop move. We broke below this, so now I'm just looking for that pullback and that continuation's lower. So I do definitely think we could get that, but we are going to have to wait and see what the week plays out. We are Tuesday only. I haven't taken any trades so far. I'm still looking at Euro pounds, US 30. NAS, not really looking at anything too amazing in here. All I can tell you is I am looking for some short moves. Let me just hide this meeting. Yeah. We have a 4-hour demand zone in here, which could get tested. I am waiting to see if this low is going to get ran. What if we're going to pull back up a little bit higher, maybe into the 50%? If we run this high, maybe that could be a possibility. But I do really want to wait for a bit more confirmation on this. Nothing in my eyes looking too amazing. Gold as well. Gold, we've been moving bearish. Now, we did not break below this low, and you can see that this, our overall major structure bearish. We have this major structure break here, breaker structure here. So in the grand scheme of things, if we are looking at this, this is your low, this is your high, this is your lower low. So now pullbacks, lower highs, then come down and create a lower low. I want to see if we can run these lows out. Where a lot of people potentially be looking for was in here. This is to our like intermediate shift. But you can see we had that big sell to buy. This is we had that big buy to sell. Looking for this 30-minute zone, following it down, we do have a nice 30-minute zone which ran liquidity in here. So I would not be surprised if we did get some sort of buy back in here to then short. We do have equal lows in here. We do have this single wick. Even though we did run liquidity on this, I do think there could have been a lot of people buying at this point with their stop losses Below this low, that's fine. That is just going to be more of liquidity buildup when we actually plummet through, potentially. So that is what I've been looking at for the week. If you guys got any questions about this, please let me know. Feel free to fire away and I will help you all as much as I can. All right, guys. Bye.